All right, everybody, welcome back. We are here with 5Footfit. Before we dive into it too much, I just want to call myself out real quick. I just put something up about being on time and it being important, and I was fucking late.
Yep. I actually was going to say that too, but
yeah, I'll call myself on it. I believe in it, but the deadlifts got a little carried away. The fucking bird outside kind of got everything thrown off this morning, and we were all over the place. But thank you for joining. It's been a long time in the making. Been with us for a while now. Been able to watch you grow, and I know you have a ton of really good valuable information to share, but a lot of kind of raw, nasty shit we want to dive into. So, but without further ado, if you just want to give a little brief background, who you are, where you came from, and then we'll kind of dive into it a little bit more.
Where I came from, okay. Name's Danielle. I grew up in Flemington, New Jersey. Good old Flem.
You're from Flem?
I'm from Flem.
I spent many hours there.
Are you serious?
Diamond Nation, the baseball facility?
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah. I used to go to Health Quest.
Yep.
Right there. Yeah. I went to University of Delaware, UD. We are the only female mascot in the country, which is pretty cool. We're blue.
I've just found out 2 new things about you that I didn't know, and I've known you for almost a year now.
Yeah.
2 of my cousins went to UD.
Went to UD.
Yeah.
You say UD?
Yeah.
Good job. You don't say UDL like a fucking loser.
Maybe I do.
Don't say UDL.
Maybe because you said UD.
UD. Yeah.
What year did you graduate?
2018.
Did you know anyone by the name of Depew?
I don't think so.
No? All right.
Why? 2018 too?
Around that time, I think maybe even last year they just graduated. But 2 of my cousins, they're a year apart. They went there, but
yeah, that's weird. That's where I went to school. Studied dietetics actually. First year, and then I was like, I'm gonna fail out of college, so I switched to communications, which is so ironic too, because I went in as a dietetics major, not even really, I don't even know why. Like, I had no background, was never like into fitness in high school, not even really in college. For some reason, I was just like, I'm gonna try dietetics, and then my first semester, my advisor was like, next semester you're gonna be taking organic chemistry and chem too, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna fail out of college if I do that. So.
Did you have like a passion for like food at all, or just kind of something that kind of caught your eye?
I feel like I almost felt like that was a path I had to go because my mom's a nurse. So I was like, oh, let me go somewhere into like the health field and I'll do this. I actually wanted to do nursing too. I think I was just lost and I didn't know what my path was going to be. So that's what I actually went into college for, which is funny now because I'm kind of in like the realm of
fucking life, full
fitness
circle.
And nutrition, right? It's weird. Studied communications, interpersonal communications, which I loved. I was like the nerdy person who would go into the big lecture and like sit in the front row with like my notepad, and I wasn't like a Karen where I'd be like, shh. But if someone was talking, it would piss me off because I'm like, I want to absorb this information. And Spanish studies minor, so that's how I lived in Spain. Studied in Spain, and that was my whole college experience, really.
And UD was or UDEL, so it's a bigger school. When I know they have a reputation, pretty good parties. We used to go down there.
Yeah,
go down there quite a bit for that.
Yeah, the St. Patrick's Day is like their big day. Big day.
We used to go for the homecoming weekend because it was always usually right around like Halloween. And my buddy's sister went there, so we would always go down. Mm-hmm. But with communications, what did you think you wanted to do with that? Was there like a specific focus that you wanted to get that and then go do?
Yeah, so that's why it was hard because it's so broad. Like, you could be anything, and it's going to have communications involved in it. It was different because it wasn't like media. It was more so like how people are communicating with each other. So like projecting onto other people and theories and why we react the way we react. So I was like, what the hell am I going to do with this? I was like, I'm either going to be a professor and just take what I've learned and do the same thing that the professors have taught me, or on a completely different spectrum, I was like, I'm going to go into some sort of PR and just try to do that. So I actually had an internship, which I think I just block out because I hated it. I had an internship in New York for a summer after I graduated college, and it was a PR. It was for a PR magazine, and I hated it. It was a desk job. I didn't like it. I was just doing like Excel charts all day. And it was so cool too because it had to do with music, and those are like the 2 things that I'm really passionate about. Like I was like, oh cool, I'm going to be communicating, and I'm also going to be focusing on like music magazines and things like that. But I was just like sitting at a desk all day. I'm like, this is not for me. And then I got that phase of life where you're like, what am I doing? I'm so lost.
Yeah. That's why, I mean, I wish I had done more of those too, internships like during college. You really find out what it is, if you like it or not.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Even you can check off the box like you don't want to sit at a desk all day. Mm-hmm. Like that shit's super fucking important, and you're never gonna know that. You always have this image of what you think that you want. I used to think that I would want a job where I would just get there at 9 and be done at 5, and then that's it, not have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Quickly do that, and you're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
But so after you graduated, did you do your internship after you graduated, or was it during school?
Yeah,
after?
It was after.
And so 2018, walk me through 2019 to briefly, because I know we're going to dive into some stuff a little bit more in there, but from 2019 to, I guess, when you came here last summer.
Okay. Let's see. I had a couple jobs. I worked at a gym. I worked at Retro Fitness, which I also feel like I block out of my life.
You still work? Do you train there sometimes, though?
Yeah, but not the one here. Not the one in Whippany. All the way in Flemington is where I did. So I was front desk, just checking people in, checking people out. I also did like the not the nursery, what do I want to call it? Like childcare there.
Yeah.
So that was also like a time in my life where I was like, I will never do this for the rest of my life. But I started doing that. I started working at a gym because I was studying to get my CPT. So I was like, this will work out so well once I get it, I can start being a trainer here. And then I slowly realized, like, I do not want to work at Retro Fitness. No offense to anyone that does that. It's just like amateur hour. And somehow I found Orange Theory. There was just like a Indeed application up there, and they were like, we want trainers. So I went in and I was like, what is this? I don't even really know what it is. I worked at the front desk for a year until I finally graduated, or I finally got my cert, and then I started becoming a trainer there, and I've been there since 2019, I think, maybe even 2018.
What made you really kind of find that passion for fitness training? Was it through your own journey? Was it through helping people? Was it just kind of fell in your lap? What was the aha moment of like, I want to be in this?
Yeah, so it's so weird to think about, because in high school, I was like the complete opposite of a fitness person. I would go on like a 10-minute run and be like, call it a day. Like, let me go home and like house every type of goldfish. Like, I did not care about what I ate. I drank a lot. I drank a lot in college, which is funny now because now I'm like a fucking grandma. Yep. But I drank a lot in college, gained the freshman 15. I think I came back from sophomore year of college, and if you ask a lot of girls my age, like Kayla Itsinas, she was this girl at the time who hosted or just completely launched this bodybuilding guide or whatever it was, body bikini guide, I don't know what it was, but it was like at home or at the gym, and for some reason me and my roommate at the time were like, let's buy it and let's split it and let's do it. And I just became super into it. Like, I was like, this is so fun, box jumps, and I'm doing treadmill sprints, and all of a sudden I just slowly started to transform. And I always say, like, my sophomore year of college was a time period. That's kind of how it started. Sophomore year of college was a time period where, like, everything completely flipped for me. My mentality was probably the best it's ever been. Even now, I, like, strive to get back to where I was. I was, like, reading all these self-help books and self-enlightenment books, and I had all these, like, really, really beneficial habits, like putting my phone to the side 30 minutes before bed, and I was just in such a great mindset. And I went back to school junior year, and I remember everyone was like, holy shit, like, what happened to you? You have completely changed. Like, you look at your body, look at this, look at that. And it put me on a pedestal that, like, I started having people come to me and they're like, what do you not eat? What do you eat? How often do you work out? And I was like, I'm just doing my thing. I don't know. I don't restrict anything. Yeah. And then that was like kind of the peak, and then it just slowly started to come down there because it was like laser focus on me that I was like, oh my God, if I take a rest day, am I going to gain weight now? No one's going to come to me for advice. And that was kind of how I got involved in fitness. I didn't start working at Orange Theory until after college. There was like that big gap in between where I was like up and down, finding myself, losing myself over and over again. But that's kind of what led me into, like, I started studying and learning about fitness, and I was like, I'm just going to become a personal trainer. Now anyone can really do it. You know what I mean? It's so easy.
So so your sophomore year, you kind of got into it. When you dove in, did you reach out to someone? Like, so you bought that bodybuilding thing. Did you have someone that you were asking questions to? Or was it kind of a lot of self-learn? I mean, I see you doing it now. A lot of you're self-taught, like you're always reading, growing, and then asking questions to other people? Was it just kind of do it on your own because it was something, you know, how obsessed you were with communications, then you started becoming obsessed with fitness and the body and everything?
It was honestly like Instagram. I was just like, I'm gonna use everything on Instagram, and like it's so different now because I still see the same thing where like what people are still doing now was what I was doing too, where I was like saving every single post from like fitness influencers that are like, hey, here's an 18 exercise workout, here's what you're gonna do, and I was following it because I didn't know better. People still do that shit. But that's kind of it. Like I was like, oh, what's this? What's that? Oh, people say this works your glutes. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And it's interesting too, because I see people now, when you get into that whole, you see how fitness is changing your life, you become so attached to it, where people now even say to me, like, I think I'm going to get my cert. And I went down that same road too. Like this fitness is like a god to you because it completely transforms your mental and your physical, that you're like, now I'm so passionate about it, I'm going to become a PT. And I don't even know if I had taken like time, if I would still become a personal trainer, I probably would. I don't think fitness is my passion. It's more so helping people.
Yeah.
And I think that, I'm sure you can relate, sometimes it feels like that was something that you loved so much for yourself that when you make it your life, it doesn't take away from it, but it's different. It's not like your relaxation anymore. It's like, this is my job.
Yeah, it 100%, because you kind of look back at all the other things that you were doing, even communications, right? It seems to, especially for me, coaching baseball, then doing college strength conditioning, it wasn't my love for there's hundreds of thousands of people that like working out more than I do.
Yeah.
That's just our outlet to help people.
Right.
And when you can find that's something you love, but then you're right, it does kind of take a switch because now it's your job. But you don't really view yourself as a personal trainer. You view yourself more as like a resource and an outlet to help people.
Yeah.
I always tell people if I died right now and I could come back tomorrow, I would be a high school guidance counselor. Like that,
really?
Like that is what I would do.
Wow.
Because I love that shit.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, I like when kids come with issues, but it seems like that's what a lot of personal training sessions are.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's like a therapy session, really.
Because it does so much more than just change the aesthetic appearance of your body. Like that's the least part of it. You know how long it takes for your body to actually change, but if you miss one workout, you feel like shit.
Yeah.
Not because you think your body's going to look any different, but because of what it does to you. Literally chemically in your body, the endorphins that it releases.
Right.
And the hormones change to feel positive.
Right.
I want to get into a couple of specific topics, but when you were going through that, when you found fitness and the change that you made, were you in I don't want to say a dark place, but were you in a place that you needed that as a resource or an outlet? Or was it kind of something that it came at a good time and then later down the road when you went through some trials and tribulations, that was your outlet then?
No, it was so different. It literally, like, it fell on my lap. Like, just like how you said, it was like a completely different, everything about my life changed in that one summer. I got a new job. I was like a morning person. Everything, like my relationship with food was different. I was experimenting. I was making my own like desserts from home, and I had this workout guide that I was following, and like everything was just shifting. I started off at like the greatest point I could have with fitness. It wasn't until, like I said, it became such a part of my identity, and people were starting to come to me, that I was like, wait, now I have this kind of responsibility. Now
did you feel more pressure
me.
then?
Oh my God, yeah. Oh my God. I remember like rest days for me were like nothing. Like I was like, oh my God, I'm totally going to rest. I'm going to go to the mall. I'm going to chill. And then in college, like I was like, should I take a rest day? Because now I have everyone looking at me. I don't want to like take a rest day and then lose my body. At the time I wasn't really knowledgeable. I didn't know what the benefits really of were rest days. I just thought like, take one once a week. I didn't know the actual point of them. So I was like, I guess I don't need one.
Right.
And that's really where everything started to go down into that dark place. But it's so interesting because I can see it now with people too. Like you said, there is an actual physical, psychological component of it where it's like endorphins, and you don't really feel as great on your rest days because you're not getting that benefit of it. But when people tell me like, oh, like I even have clients now that are like, oh, I release anxiety through the gym, and I get it. But I'm also like, you have to find other ways to release anxiety, because what do you do if you're hurt and you can't go to the gym for a month?
Yep.
What's going to happen to your mental health? What do you do if the gym is closed? What do you do if you are having an awful day, like you can't always go to the gym because it actually causes more stress.
Yeah.
Stress and stress. The gym isn't a stress reliever. It's going to cause stress on your body. So you're actually not doing anything. Go for a freaking walk.
Yeah. I'm a big walk guy.
Go for a walk. Awesome. Go to yoga. Do something, but don't go and hammer your body in the gym because it's going to do the exact opposite of relax you.
And it does start to add stress when you start to care a lot more, because then you're adding stress by having to make sure you go. Mm-hmm. I've seen a huge change and growth in you, even since I met you last year, from now, just following along, seeing what you're doing, watching you openly talk about things. What that dark time that you went through, and you talk about it now, kind of, if you don't mind, walk me through exactly what that was, or what transpired from when, because you said you're at your peak. You're still striving to get back there. If you walk me through that roller coaster, if you don't mind.
So it's so interesting. I'm literally the most open person about it. I could tell anyone about this. Actually, during my whole eating disorder, I was like, I want to go back to where I stayed, because I was like admitted. I want to go back there, and I want to like help the girls that are there now, because it's just, okay, we'll break it down. So my junior year of college, I went abroad to Spain. I studied there for 5 months with my best friend. And that's where I fulfilled that Spanish studies minor. If you got all your credits, you could go and live in Spain, and then boom, you're done. So that whole thing happened sophomore year. Everyone's kind of looking at me, and it just kind of progressively got more intense, I should say. And before I left for Spain, I was in a pretty bad place. Like, it's hard to even kind of put myself back there, because an eating disorder is so psychological. People don't even realize it. Like, it completely morphs your brain, that anything and everything revolved around food and exercise was just, I can't even take you back to my thoughts, because they made no sense.
You don't worry about anything else besides those.
It is so, my sister used to tell me, like, your life is so small, and it was so true. And at the time it was hurtful, but it was so true. Like, my life was food and exercise, and there was nothing else to it. So when I was planning on going to Spain, my mom was like, I don't want you to go, because I don't think you're in a good place physically or mentally. And I was like, please let me go, please let me go. And I begged, and she was like, okay, fine. So it's funny, because Spain was the worst I've ever been with my eating disorder. I was in an awful fucking place. Like, I reached a point, I don't want to say I was like suicidal, but I can think of like a lot of times where I was off by myself in Spain, and I was like, what do I have to live for? Like, I was so anxious all the time. I was in this terrible place where I couldn't eat anything in Spain. I'm in fucking Spain. I'm in Europe, and I can't eat anything. My host mom, like, there was so much drama with her, because she was making all these delicious plates for us, and I was like, I can't eat them. And we started to call my best friend that was there with me the garbage can. But she was eating my food. Yeah. Kind of like how Brooke does now. Yeah. But she was eating my food for me.
You don't want it, it's like, because it's like insulting to the host mom that she's making it, and you're like, I'm good.
And everyone was almost like an enabler for me, because they know how messed up I was, that no one was really hard on me. They were drawing that line between like, you need help, and also like, I'm not going to push you. Yeah. But yeah, it was the worst. Like,
it's a tough spot for people close to you to be in with that.
Oh my God. I even sometimes feel a lot of, like, just, I guess, remorse for what I put my best friend through, because no one really saw how bad it was, other than my sister, my mom, and Sabrina, who was there with me, because I was just like, everything went wrong in Spain. I lost my period. My hair was falling out. When your hormones are all fucked up, everything is just reversed. So it's interesting, because your hair falls out, but you also can get more body hair. So I feel like I was getting like more like facial hair, like fuzzies. My joints were like rubbing together. I remember I used to have to put a pillow in between my knees when I would sleep, because my knee bones were just rubbing together, and it was so painful. Everything was just fucked up. Everything.
Was there an underlying, some people, that's like their vice, right? So
yeah.
Whatever it may be, was there an underlying issue, or was it simply body dysmorphia, where it's you actually just don't think you look good, or was that what you used as your vice for some other thing, an underlying issue inside you that you were dealing with?
I feel like it was everything. Like, I feel like I couldn't really see how thin I was at the time, but my mom had an eating disorder, my sister had an eating disorder, so it's definitely a whole part of like your upbringing. You see your mom going through like different fad diets and being a spin instructor, and then my sister was happening to her. I think I just kind of, and then I was on that pedestal and I was getting all this attention that I think maybe it just kind of messes with you, that you're like, I'm only worthy when I'm this skinny, or like, I'm only going to find love when I'm this skinny.
People are only paying attention to you and care about you when you're that skinny.
Exactly. So it's totally, I think it more than anything, it's like a lack of self-worth or a lack of self-love. It's always going to stem from your eating disorder. There has to be something that's deeper than that issue with food. When I came home from Spain, everyone, your parents are so happy to see you. They haven't seen their kid in 5 months, 6 months. My mom bawled her eyes out. She was like, I can't look at you. Like, you have to go see someone. So she sat me down and she begged and she cried. And, you're so stubborn because you're so, like I said, your brain is chemically changed now. When your whole body is, emaciated and it's not getting the proper nutrients, your brain is affected.
People don't realize that too. Your food is the nutrients for your brain as well. So
exactly.
You're depriving your muscles, you're depriving your brain.
Oh yeah.
Your heart and your organs.
Everything was fucked up. Finally, I was like, okay, I'll go. Like, whatever. So I go to like a therapist. And
did you identify that? Did you know
that I had?
Did you have the blinders on? Like, I'm fine. This is normal. Or was it? Mm-hmm. Did you know that you had an issue? I
was 92 pounds and I was like, I'm fine. Like, I was like,
you're not like that short. I mean, you're 5 foot.
I'm 5.
Fit, but you're, what are you? 5'4"?
I'm 5'2".
5'2"? 5'2", right?
I'm 5'2", okay. Yeah. Yeah, my Instagram's a lie. 5'2". But no, like, I comfortably sit probably 120, 130. So I was like severely underweight at that time. And I looked like a freaking 5-year-old. Like, I looked like I was 12. Yeah. People make fun of me now. They say you look like you're 12. I actually looked like I was 12 because I had no boobs, no butt. My face was like just so sunken in. I was like a little girl in like an old person face because everything was just so pronounced.
Your skin too.
Yeah, it was awful. And you see photos of me, like my face completely changed. And interesting, talking about maybe the behind reason or the reason behind why everything kind of got to where it was. I've always been so self-conscious of my face because I carry a lot of weight there. Like, I just have a rounder face. And when I was losing weight, my face was changing so much that I was like, wow, I kind of like the way my face looks. It's like when you see competitors and everything changes about them, like their face just becomes totally different. I was like, can I sustain this? Like, can I have this face forever? Because I love it. I feel like that was like a driving point for me. Like, I was like, I'm actually kind of liking how skinny my face is. You can't change that shit. But at the time, that was a big probably reason why. Anyway, I came home, went to a therapy session that I thought was going to be piece of cake. Like, hey, we're going to slowly help you gain weight here.
Were you willing to go to that?
No. I mean, I went because my mom begged me and I was like, I'll go. But that was probably, if you think about like a dramatic movie scene, that's literally what it was. It happened so fast. They were like, oh yeah, no, you're being admitted. And I was like, being admitted where? Like, for the night? And they were like, no, you're staying here for 14 days in the hospital. And I was like, get the fuck out. I was a baby. I threw a fit. I was like, I'm not going. I'm not, whatever. They literally propped me into a wheelchair, took me to get an EKG because they thought my heart was like all messed up. They were like, we hope that there's no sort of, deformation, whatever, in your heart. They thought my brain was messed up. So it was like, it was such a crazy time. It happened so fast all in one day. Put me into the hospital. I stayed there for 14 days. I had like no doors in the bathroom. I had no doors because I was so fucked up. I would like work out even in the room. The nurse would be looking at me. I'd be doing like high knees, or like I would be doing like mountain climbers. Anything to still get some sort of exercise, and like sit-ups in the hospital bed while my heart is like hooked up to a machine. They were worried because my heart was dropping so low. I was in like the 20s. And people talk about like sacrifices that their parents make for them, but like my dad came to the hospital every single day. My mom came to the hospital every single day after work. And I remember one night she was sleeping there with me and she's like, I'll just go to my hospital in the morning. And she was in my bed with me, and the machine kept beep, beep, beep in the middle of the night because it was warning me, like, your heart rate's too low. Like, imagine being a fucking parent and being like, is my kid gonna die right next to me because her heart's gonna stop beating in the middle of the night? So yeah, it's like, people know that I have an eating disorder because I'm pretty open about it, but I don't think people know like really how bad it was. Like, and that's why it's such a hard, it's not a hard topic for me, but when people even show like signs, I would say like 7 out of 8, whatever, of 10 people like have some sort of relationship with food that's skewed and they don't even know it.
Yeah, for sure.
Or body dysmorphia and they don't even know it. And I'm like, I don't want to diagnose you because that's not my job, but like, that's a slippery slope.
Yeah. When you were there for the 14 days, I mean, obviously, just based off where you're at now, it helped. Was there a moment there that you like, what changed? What got you out of that place?
Talk about like an aha moment was at one point, I remember I was reading some sort of book. I can't even tell you what it was, but I texted my mom and I was like, I have a feeling, and I specifically remember this. I was sitting at the little table and they were like, it was like a puzzle here and like all these little books here. Like it was like a little kid room. I was in like a tiny little eating disorder wing for like little girls. And I texted my mom and I was like, this is for a reason. Like there's a reason why I have an eating disorder. I know it. My mom was like keep tapping into that. Like it's the universe. They're talking to you. She's very spiritual. She was like, the angels are talking to you. Like pay attention to it. And now for a long time after when I was released from the hospital, I also went to like a, they call it intensive, what the fuck is it called? It's something where you go IOP, intensive outpatient program. So you're released from the hospital, but you're still going to the hospital every single day from like 8 to 6. They give you what to eat. They tell you what to do. You can't cut your food. You can't have, like I said, there's little things that people with eating disorders do. Like, they'll drench their food in condiments so they can't taste it, or they'll make their food really, really small and take tiny bites. Like you had to eat your food at a certain time. Every single meal was like everyone was crying, everyone was doing this because it's so mentally hard, especially when people are giving you food to eat. Like you can't choose your food. But at the time, the whole period after, I was like, wow, my eating disorder robbed me from my life. Remember, I used to always say that. I was like, it took a huge portion of my life. It ruined everything. It completely changed me. And now I'm always like, my eating disorder is literally one of my biggest strengths. It is so easy for me. I feel like I have an advantage, honestly. I can relate to so many people. It makes me a better coach. It makes me more empathetic. It makes me more knowledgeable and aware when I can see signs that my clients, not saying they all have eating disorders, but like I said, they can have a skewed relationship with food and they don't realize it. Like, why can't you take a day off of the gym? Or why do you feel like you have to work out more or you can't eat as much because you're taking a rest day? Like, question it. Why do you feel that? You know what I mean? Oh, because you think you have to earn your food? Well, that's a problem. You know what I mean?
It's so cliche to say sometimes. Everyone says it. But the things the adversities that you battle through and come out on the other side, like those are what make you who you are. And they do make you stronger. Those scars are they say like tattoos of victory. You know what I'm saying? Like you got through and you wear those proudly.
Yeah.
And it doubles up on it. Then now you're able to be like open and share because so many people look up to you that if you kept that in, even just like you probably don't even realize how many people you're affecting when you post it on your story that don't have the courage to say that they're going through it and message you, but see it.
Yeah. And
see where you're at now. Like I don't think it's always very, minimized that the effect that it can have. And it's a challenging thing. Like when you first got out and you had that moment, you got out and you were good and you started your path to where you are now. Were you as open about it? Were you confident enough to talk about it?
Oh, hell no. Even now, sometimes vulnerability can be scary, especially on social media. It's easy for me to talk to you or talk to anyone that I'm friends with because I have no fear about it. It's different when you're on social media and you're like, people are going to judge me. They're going to think, I used to always be like, people are going to think I want attention. I want your pity. Like, I don't need people to DM me and be like, I'm so sorry it's happened to you. Like, no, I want you to instead take what I'm telling you about myself and see if you can relate to it. And if you can, dig deeper. Like, why can you relate to it? You know what I mean?
And that's what makes you real, because I guarantee you people who haven't seen that part of your story just started following you on a day that you're posting up, you're squatting, see what you look like now. They're like, oh, she was born like that. She can do whatever she wants. They don't know, right? So it makes what you're talking about more real, more authentic, and much more relatable to a lot of people. Because like you said, the majority, a high percentage of people go through some sort of eating disorder at one point or another. Yeah. Maybe not to that scale. Right. But even anything, like if I'm like obsessed that I'm not going to drink this because there's 9 carbs in it, like unless you're counting macros or whatever, it can you feel bad about it for the rest of the day. Like that's an issue.
Yeah, 100%.
But it makes it's more relatable. When you got out and you had that moment, the months after, getting into did you know right when you got out that you wanted to get into fitness and either start helping people then?
I mean, I guess I would say that is probably what drove me to like, okay, now I'm gonna start working out. I'm gonna see like I said, Instagram posts. I was following all these girls that looked amazing, and I was like, wow, I want to put on muscle like that. I don't want to look like a 12-year-old boy anymore. So I started, doing a little bit more research about that. And then I started working at Retro. And then I was like, I'm going to become a personal trainer. And I found Orange Theory. And it just literally was like a domino effect.
Did you have one person? There's always like one influencer on there. Did you have one that you're like, oh man, she's badass. Like I want to be like her.
I bet you there are people that I followed them that I unfollowed now. Because they probably, like I said, are people now that I'd be like, why do you have an Instagram platform? Because it's like, hey guys, here's how you're going to do donkey kickbacks and glute bridges and grow your ass. And I'm just like, at the time I was like, oh my God, yes. Yeah. I probably unfollowed them because like I said, as I transformed, I got more knowledge and I was like, you are a phony.
The one person that got me into fitness that I started following that I was obsessed with, the reason I have a left sleeve tattoo, Rurik ruined it for me. Because he DM'd him when we were launching our supplement lines and he came back and shit on us. Haven't followed him since. Ruined my golden dude I used to look up to all the time. Just a little side note there. Rurik ruined my idol for me. But so as you were after that, obviously going through, you get to a point. Did you still have and I'm sure you still do to this day. People just talking to you and everything. Was it a hard transition? Being like, I'm okay. You don't need to call me and text me for every meal. You don't need to check in on me every day. Was that a tough thing, especially once you got the confidence in yourself and what you were doing to kind of start to go out on your own again? Because parents, they fucking love you. Your friends love you.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to want to always make sure that you're good. But that can be a challenging thing in and of itself, too.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely think, like I said, you lose control of everything. So I couldn't decide when I was going to eat. I couldn't decide what I was going to eat. When I was in that little IOP after getting out of the hospital, if my mom wasn't there physically for meals, I had to like FaceTime her or I had to like record myself eating and send it to her because that was part of the whole program.
Wait, so you were still in school during all this, correct?
No, that was summer. Okay. That was during the summer. That was my sophomore year, my junior year coming home after Spain. Yeah.
And were you able to go back to school that next fall semester?
I was.
How was that?
That was hard. That was a hard transition for sure. Because like I said, it was like being carefully watched like a child to now having all this freedom at school. I think I started off pretty good. And then I think I kind of got into that holy shit because now you're back at school and I'm a senior and I'm drinking and can I drink and I can't drink because calories and oh my God, 7 grams for a calorie, 7 calories for 1 gram. You know what I mean? Like I was like making all that math in my head. I was like, I can't do this.
You still found yourself doing that after.
Mm-hmm. And it's so, people say like, oh, progress isn't linear, but I swear to God, I've been through so many up and downs. And even now, I sometimes have moments where I'm like, holy shit, why am I thinking like that? Like, why are these thoughts coming into my head? The cool thing is I can obviously differentiate between like, okay, that's an eating disorder thought and that's a Danielle thought. But sometimes when I'm not in control, especially of my food, I still can get into those little tendencies of like, I would literally black out. Like, it's so hard to describe, but it's like the sounds around you just like kind of start to fade out. My face gets hot. My heart starts beating really fast. And like now I can be like, why am I doing this? But yeah, like that was a huge thing that was recurring like every single meal when I got back to school. That was a hard transition for sure.
What do you think was, this is kind of an on-the-spot question, but the one thing, so then always at the end I say, I always like to ask if you could say one thing to help anyone that was in your situation, whatever. But what do you think the one thing was that really, really triggered? Was it just having resources, like when you went away for 14 days? Was it having your family? Was it gaining more confidence in yourself? Like, was something from the inside? What do you think the one thing was that really catapulted you to be able to do this?
I don't know if there is one thing, honestly. I really don't. I don't know if I would say that there was a one thing that was like, okay, I'm in a better place now. I think it was more so like, I always tell people, because now I have people sometimes who DM me and they're like, I'm having issues with food, or like, I think my best friend has an eating disorder. And I'm always like, I can help you, but like, I swear to God, I would probably still be in that awful place, or not to sound morbid, but like probably dead, because that's where I was going.
Yeah.
If I didn't get professional help, like there is no fucking way. I needed all of my rights stripped from me. I needed someone to sit me down and be like, I'm going to force feed this to you. I needed nurses to be like, you can't leave here until you eat your food. I needed all of that. So like you said before, people have different spectrums of where they're at, different intensities of where they are and like their eating disorder. But I would think it would probably be a combination of everything. Like I needed those 2 months, 3 months of being completely restricted from every choice I could make to get to a point where I could slowly start to like eat more food and take more rest days. And, you know, I think I started following more people on Instagram who were like promoting body positivity and like, you know, this and that. I worked with a coach who put me into a reverse diet. I learned all about macros, and I was eating, you know, at the time, like 150 calories to me, or 150 grams of carbs, I mean, was like a big deal.
So education then, and learning like what food actually does to your body rather than just curing hunger and making you fat or skinny.
Yeah, that was a huge thing. You know, my coach being like, you can't do this, you can't do that. And I've worked with like countless coaches after that.
I always use the example
with coaches,
like,
man.
Coaches need coaches. I always use the example of like egg whites and egg yolk, right? So people are like, oh, there's extra calories in my cholesterol, right? You know, egg whites have the biotin blocking, the biotin blocker in there. That's why a lot of people that you see, predominantly females, who load up on egg whites prior to a show, thinning hair, their nails, biotin's the hair, skin, and nails.
Right.
So little things like that, when you're not looking at calories, you're looking at the quality and what it's doing to your body, right?
Yeah.
Now I may eat 6 egg yolks per day. That's why I have a full head of hair and good fingernails. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of things like that go into it, that education.
Oh yeah.
Rather than just calories in, calories out. Does it make me fat or does it make me skinny? And learning, and that's a good thing I know that you're doing now too, is like putting that out there so people can learn of it.
Yeah.
Because and it comes a lot with maturity. So one thing I'm actually really impressed about with your story is that, were you 18, 19 at the time you went through all this? Or 19, 20?
Yeah, when I came back from Spain, I was 21.
21? And that's a young age to mature enough to be able to admit that you were in a bad place. People, it's a young age. People haven't hit their maturity peak. Obviously, females a little bit earlier than males. A lot of people be like, I'm fine. I'm fine. Yeah. Push back. When you can self-identify, I would say when you can self-identify, whole fucking new world comes up.
Yeah.
When you can look in the mirror and be like, I'm fucked up. I caused that fight. I have a problem. A whole second fucking realm opens up to like, oh, this is what life is. Because you can make the changes now because you know you're responsible for it. I think that impresses me about this because that's a young age to be able to admit that.
Yeah. Like I said, I would not have done that if it wasn't for, you know, people. And it sucks because a lot of people don't have that person or people in their life to be like, you need to get help. Like they are kind of trying to figure it out. Sometimes parents are so old school, like they don't really know what the hell.
And what does you need help mean? If there's no specific plan for it, go get help. Okay, what help?
Where am I supposed to go? What am I supposed to do? Exactly. And that's when it becomes like I don't have a problem. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm fine.
If you can't identify what to fix, you're
exactly.
You're fucked up.
Yeah.
There's no direction for it.
Yeah.
I know, like for myself, I mean, speaking on it, I was 256.
Yeah,
I went down to 173. I definitely had an eating disorder. Never identified, never went anywhere. People would say stuff to me because I wouldn't eat. I would eat tuna sandwich on wheat bread and a protein shake for lunch. Same thing for dinner. Everything. I would train, play baseball, lift weights, hit 2 times a day. But I went from 256 to 173 in less than a year.
That's crazy.
And I would eat pizza, go in the bathroom, and throw it up. Right? And I didn't think it was a problem. And I had, just because I had really bad body dysmorphia, where I just wanted to keep getting skinnier. Mine was all based on like, I was just fat and wanted girls, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like confidence and the maturity of that understanding it and seeing what was happening, and my brother would be like, dude, are you all right? Do we need to like talk? And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
But finally got to a place, it wasn't until like I got to Cincinnati where I was finally okay with carrying more fat, comfortable confidence, but being around people more, just having a better like team around me that supports like being who you are and pushing through it. But a big piece of it was like the maturity thing for me. is when you start to really understand like what you're doing. That's why I think I was 25, 26, but for you doing it at such a young age is an impressive thing to see, because a lot of people start to battle that later on.
Yeah. I also think, like, I'm sure during that whole process you had people that were like, yo dude, you look great, like, wow, what are you doing? That's just fuel to the fire.
Yeah.
And
you're like, I'm gonna lose 10 more pounds when I go home for Christmas break from Thanksgiving.
Exactly. People don't, I don't want to say you can't compliment people's physique, but it's true. Like, I read something once and it was like, you have to be so careful about the way you compliment people if they've lost a lot of weight, especially in a short amount of time. Like, to be like, I used to have people be like, you look so tiny, and I loved it at the time. That if I ever heard someone tell me you look healthy, I'd be like, oh my god, I'm gonna fucking go. That's why it's a
double standard. I'm gonna ruffle feathers. I don't even know where you stand on this, but I'm just gonna fucking say it.
Oh my god.
The whole overweight models on magazines that are violently obese, like very obese. She's healthy because she's comfortable and confident. Well, she's not healthy at all. She's confident, and that's awesome. But she's definitely not healthy.
Yeah.
So you can't promote that. You can promote self-confidence in your skin if you're not walking around at 9% body fat. But you can't then promote being at above a certain body fat percentage, visceral fat. You can't promote that that's healthy. And it's a double standard too, along those lines, that, you know, when people say it to people like that, they're like, well, I'm confident in my body.
I'm thinking that maybe the entertainment industry, they're trying to find that balance, because we went from like, hey, here's, you know, all the skinny models, the Victoria's Secret models that are fucking rail thin,
right, on
every magazine cover, and here's Shape magazine, and lose 3 pounds in 2 days, here's how, all liquid diets, all that shit like that. I feel like I grew up around that.
Yeah, for
and sure. Now it's almost kind of different.
Opposite end.
Exactly. So maybe I'm hopeful in a couple years it will be a little bit more balanced, where they will find that sweet spot of like, because I mean, everyone's still trying to find it too, even people in the fitness industry.
Just refine the message. You can still put them on there and say mental health confidence is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And being comfortable in your skin.
Yeah.
But she's not physically healthy.
Yeah.
And same thing to be said for the Victoria's Secret models that are very, you know, under eating calories, that are, you know, same thing goes for them as well.
Yeah.
And it's a challenging thing, especially when like you said, when people are complimenting people or people say stuff like that. It's like Joe Rogan's interview was the quote he had was the best. He goes, the best thing that you can do for your friend that's overweight is to not be nice to them. It's just to straight up tell them that they're fat. Tell them that they're fat, because when you say that to them, and they're going to make a change, not from an aesthetic standpoint, they're going to lose weight, get healthy, and they're going to live a lot longer. And you're going to be able to be friends with them for a lot longer. It's the same thing where on the opposite end, when they, to you, how you said they were enabling, because they didn't want.
Why'd you have an accent when you said that?
Did I say opposite end?
On the opposite end.
Oh, that was my Pennsylvania Dutch. They, on the opposite end, you said they were enablers because they didn't want to upset you. Same thing if you're telling your friend he's fat to lose weight so you can live longer. If they had told you, Danielle, you're too light, you have a problem, you would have, you know, obviously some things might not have changed, but it's the same concept. You would have been like, okay, you have to do that to get out of it. You know, so having those hard conversations, it goes both ways there. And it's like a very, like I said, it's a sensitive subject, especially nowadays, because the body shaming. But you're not body shaming, because I don't give a fuck what my friend looks like.
Yeah.
But if he's pounding down bags of Doritos and Mountain Dew every day, I'm not gonna be able to hang out with him when our kids are graduating college.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it goes into that piece of not what the food makes you look like, but what it does for you actually from a health standpoint.
Yeah. I swear to God, like, I don't think anyone knows how to finagle that situation.
Can't.
Like, people, parents, no fucking idea what to do. Friends, no fucking idea what to do. You, no idea what to do. That's why you literally have to see a professional, because parents and friends can say like, hey, there might be something wrong with you, but they don't know the right words. They don't know how to like get you to change without feeling like they're forcing you. It's going to strain your relationship. You know what I mean? Like, you got to let the professionals handle that. You cannot try to like fix your daughter, fix your friend, because
there's certain things when people come that it's too important of a subject to just try being there, you always have to be there for someone. But at some times, that has to be the extent of it.
Yeah.
Because of the magnitude of the situation.
Yeah.
You know, like, I've had people come to me, former baseball players of mine, there was a situation where usually I can handle it. I get a call. You know, I have to call the police, different things, because it's just like, that's not my scope.
Right.
But I'll always be there.
Exactly. Yeah.
And running them through with that, you know, and making them aware of it too. Because if you go radio silence, it's never a good thing too. Some people can handle it and be like, oh, I'm not talking to her until she fixes it.
Yeah. That's not
probably the worst.
Yeah. Not going to help.
And you're still growing in this, because from when I met you, what was that, last August? When she started coming around? August. Even from last August to this day, I've seen a big change in what you're doing. Mm-hmm. Just walk me through a little bit of what you're doing right now, because I've even seen your views of food change still. Yeah. Now you're working with a new coach. Shout out Paulie D.
Shout out Paul.
Paulie D, the GOAT, 1994, Mr. Pennsylvania. But moving to him as a coach is a different mental approach.
Totally different. Very holistic. Very
for a different purpose.
Quality foods. Like, going back to what you said, it's not calories in, calories out. It's really about what's going to make you feel better. I'm super big on gut health now. Like, I find that so interesting, the gut-brain axis.
Getting it clear out too.
Yep. When your gut's messed up, everything else is going to be messed up. So, you know, even now, like, everything that I'm learning, I can apply to my clients. So, like, you have anxiety. Okay, well, how's your gut health? You have brain fog. Well, how's your gut health? You're depressed. How's your gut health? You know what I mean?
Seriously, that was the big change for me.
It's a giant switch. And there's things that, going back, remember I said, like, sophomore year was my peak. Like, I feel like I was so holistic in that approach. Like, my relationship with food was amazing. I was like, I don't care what the hell amount of sugar is in this, as long as it's natural sugar. I don't care how many carbs I'm eating, as long as I'm eating good carbs. I want to, like, roast all my food. I want to bake everything. Obviously, it's hard to do that now when, like, you're in and out. I pack all my meals. Like, I'm fucking leaving for 5 days. So, you know, when you can sit down and have a meal, it's so different. Like, cook your meal with love. I'm not going to do Pam. I'm going to use olive oil.
It's crazy when you eat regular food too that's not done like that, how shitty it makes
you. Oh, you feel awful.
It's kind of shitty, because especially when I went vertical, when I was doing it with Paul, we went vert. It's all based on gut health. When you have something that's not built into the gut health model, you feel like twice as shitty. Yeah. I say that about, like, our hangovers are worse than people that drink a lot, because we take care of our body so well. Yeah. Then it's like, you just had 35 Coronas. Like, what the hell? Yeah. You know, it's like, exactly. You don't really know what to do.
I think that, to kind of go back to your question, I think that I had to go through a lot of different coaches to find one that works more so for this part of my life. Yeah. I've had coaches that are very extreme, that are like, I'm going to give you a bodybuilding diet, and, like, yeah, it works, but my mental health was shit. And now I'm like, I'm still in that balance of, like, I want to look really good. You know, I have, like, an idea of, like, what I used to look like, where I was like, damn, I was shredded. But I also want to take care of myself internally. So, like, I don't want to be that thin and have my relationship with food be strained. Like, it's just not worth it. And I've had to go through this whole big process of, like, gaining weight, losing weight, gaining weight, losing weight, to try to heal everything internally. Like, I just feel like I've had a couple coaches now that are like, it sounds like your gut is, like, not good. So, and there's a lot of protocols that you have to take, like, you know, cut down on caffeine, cut down on any added sugars. Yeah, I say as I drink my coffee. You know, natural sunlight in the morning, that's a big one. 10-minute walk when you wake up. Bone broth, you know, anything that's fermented. Drink your kombucha, get your sauerkraut. There's, like, so many things. Paul tells me to drink, or to eat a carrot a day. Like, little things that you can do to make yourself feel better. 10-minute walks.
Do you notice a change, like a physical and mental change, clarity, from switching that, from just going from counting macros? If it fits your macros, if a piece of pizza fits it, you're good.
It's really hard to unlearn macro tracking. Because I think even if you stop physically doing it, it's still a mental game where you can be like, okay, that was like 35 grams of carbs, and that's 20, so now I'm at 50. And like I said, it's hard to have that balance of, like, I'm going to eat intuitively and feel really good, and I also want to look a certain way. I will tell you, like, first week I started working with Paul, I was like, I feel fucking amazing. Like, my brain fog was gone. I felt my energy levels were super high. I wasn't fatigued. My joints felt better. I was sleeping better. And that's typically what they say changes when you switch to a more gut friendly diet. Then I went away and I feel like I kind of fell off, whatever. But I definitely will tell you that there's a huge difference. I think everyone's different. Every client's different, and that's why you have to find a coach who's going to work with you and figure out what works best for your body. I'll tell you, like, I do not take that shit lightly. If someone's putting their body in my hands, I am not going to throw a macro calculator at you and be like, okay, here's where you're at. I'm going to put you on a plan, and I'm going to see how your body adapts for 2 weeks in that plan, and then if we're having issues, we're going to fix it. I think I gravitate and I work way better on a high-fat diet. Some females, high carbs, lower fat, but like for like hormone restoration, sure. High fat, 100%. You should not be eating. I will never put a female below 45 grams of fat.
Good for your brain.
You need high fat, especially for females. Guys are a little bit different, but like if a girl's eating 36 grams of fat, like it's such a problem. Like, are you losing your period? How's your hair growth? You know what I mean? Like, how are your hormones? How's everything? Like, how's your sex drive? Yeah. Having like a low fat diet or having your hormones messed up, like everything's going to be affected by it. So that's like a huge thing for me. If a female's coming to me and she's eating 1,200 calories a day, like I'm like, we have to bump your fats up, like slowly get them super high, get your hormones functioning at a normal level, and then we'll like reset from there. But like I said, like there's a lot that goes into it. And a lot of times I've become way more holistic too, where I'm like, I don't give a fuck what the scale says right now for you. If you're gaining weight every week, it could be water weight, number one, but also like, I want to see where your mental health is at. Because if you're dropping pounds every week, but you're feeling awful about food and you can't go out to eat because you're worried about gaining weight.
Fucking number.
Yeah, it's not, you're going to stop working with me and you're going to plummet.
Yeah.
So we need to get you to a place where you are at a better mental place, and then we can focus on aesthetics.
And the thing that you said that I love, that I relate to a lot of my clients, is finding something that works for you, that's also sustainable. That's why I am anti-cleanse, juice cleanse. I'm anti-30-day weight loss. I'm anti-smoothie diet. I think it's all kind of BS, because once you stop it, I think it's not sustainable. You can't do a smoothie diet for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And if you don't change something in those 30 days that you're on the smoothie diet, you're going to go back to what you know. And you're going to get back right to where you were.
Yeah.
So educating people on why they're doing things and getting them to a point that find what good foods are good for you, that you like, that help your gut health or macros or whatever, like, and learn and change different things. I've seen you do a bunch of different training programs since you've been here, try a bunch of different meal nutrition stuff since you've been here. Finding one that fits, that makes you happy, and you can continue to do it. I think that's the piece, and that's why I really don't enjoy. I've never done one, but I don't think that those other things are very sustainable.
I feel like I always say this too, like it's gonna be trial and error. You're gonna find shit that's not gonna work, and you're gonna find other things that works out better for you, but then you grow old of it, or you have a new goal, or at a different phase of your life. There was a time where I was super shredded. Like quarantine, I was probably in the best shape of my life. Like I was ripped, but all I had to really do was work out all day. Like I wasn't doing anything. So now I'm at a different point in my life where I have more going on. I can't, work out for 15 minutes and then go for a 30-minute run later and go for 3 walks throughout the day. Like it's just a different phase of my life. But kind of going off of like sustainability, I saw a meme yesterday that was like, someone's like, keto works for me, I lose weight every time, and they're like, great, do you gain the weight back? And they're like, yeah, I do. Okay, it's not sustainable. Like little things are going to, a juice cleanse, hell yeah, you're gonna lose weight, you're gonna lose a lot of water weight too, but you're not drinking, you're probably not eating a lot of carbs, so there goes the glucose and the water, that's everything that's gonna make you feel heavier or show the weight on the scale, but you're going to gain all that shit back. Sure, for a short fix, if you're going away in a week and you want to lose that weight, okay, whatever. But it's stupid. And it's sad, too, because so many people with big followings on Instagram still promote that shit. And I'm like, you don't realize how toxic it is. Like, you have a responsibility on social media to not be spreading things like that. And I feel like if you're aware of it and you're still showing, like, hey, here's me with a juice cleanse, or here's me doing 50 minutes of cardio because I'm losing weight, or I'm having a cheat day, like, you're an asshole.
And I 100% agree.
Yeah.
And I will support anything that anybody does to try to better themselves with their type of training, with their nutrition. If they are educated on it, I will support it. If you know it and it works if it works for you, like scientifically, and you can sustain it, and it's healthy, I'm all for it. I don't give a fuck if you do CrossFit. I don't give a fuck if you run marathons. I don't give a shit if you do yoga. I don't give a shit if you do whatever. You put it to Rick. It doesn't matter. I don't care, because you're trying to get healthy. You're working on yourself. You're making a commitment. But it does frustrate me when I see people do things that, because they've seen it from the wrong place, and it's really not good for you.
Right.
But it's a challenging thing, because then they think, you have the blinders on to only your way or the highway. No, I don't care at all.
Right.
Along those lines, as long as you're committing yourself to, look, there's people that don't want to work out, and that's fine.
Yeah.
And we'll always be there for them when they decide that they want to, try and work on their body or whatever. But as long as people are doing the right things, I don't get upset. But there are so many people pushing fucking wrong shit on social media when it comes to that, I mean, you and I go back and forth too with some of the training stuff with some different people.
Yeah. That's so funny. I actually had an old client who responded to my most recent post about like the ugly booty squeeze.
Yeah.
And she was like, where do we learn this shit? Like, she's like, I had no idea. Like, I didn't even know. And like, I didn't know that it was so wrong to be doing this. And I'm like, you learn it from Instagram. And she was just like,
well, and things
I guess you're right.
Things progress. Right?
Oh yeah. Like, I used to do it too.
And 10 years ago, it was probably taught to be the right thing to do. Squeeze your glutes, get a good glute contraction up at the top. Right? Because they just didn't know. Science is evolving every day.
Yeah.
I can't still to this day, when a high school fucking football player comes in here and we get them under the bar for the first time, the first thing they do is they find the corner of the room and squat with their chin up. Because I know every high school football coach that was taught it from the one before him, was get under the bar, look at the ceiling, squat down, and get up there.
Yeah.
I know they do that.
Yeah.
And I have to teach them, pick a spot on the wall and look straight forward, keep your neutral spine, right? You're going to fucking pop shit. It's terrible for you. But it's the same thing, because that's what was taught and passed down.
Right.
It's our job to...
Exactly. That's your responsibility as someone on social media, whatever. If you want to be a personal trainer, that's fine. Like I said, it's so easy to be a personal trainer nowadays. Like, sorry to say it, but it is. But you have a responsibility then to educate yourself with all the information that's out there, especially on Instagram. Follow the right people and learn. That way, like, you are actually a useful personal trainer. Don't call yourself a personal trainer if you're using like information that's from the 90s and you're still promoting it. Like,
a lot of people, it's a facade too, because then they get followers and just for, they're not even certified, right? It's one of the things I really like about Jess and having her on our team. If you even just look at the angles of her videos, they're made for the purpose of the movement.
Yeah.
She could pop it down and show her ass every time, but she won't.
Yeah.
There's girls with 20,000 followers that are doing shit completely wrong, getting likes, follows, sponsorships, because they look at it, but they're really not helping anyone, or they're promoting the wrong shit.
Yeah.
And that's a big piece of this industry that needs to be cleaned up, I think. But like what you're doing now, with your Instagram and doing more stuff about that, like the video you did the other day, that is the shit it's authentic, it's real, it's relatable, it's helpful, it's a useful resource that probably a bunch of people saved that one. Yeah. It's like that's the stuff that's going to carry over and help you build your personal business. Yeah.
It's way more fulfilling too when you start posting to actually help people and not posting for clout. The clout, or really just trying to like
clout chasing.
Yeah, like, here's my ass. Hey guys, here's my ass. Like, and like, yo, I'm all about it. If you want to take a photo, yeah, 100%. You want to show off what you built, 100% go for it. But if you can't say like, okay guys, here is an upper body workout, but I'm gonna bend over in front of the camera, like, have integrity with what you're posting. I'll say, like, I feel like I felt way more fulfilled these past couple months when I've been like, I'm going to actually put out stuff that's going to help you. That's the best thing ever.
I need to get fucking back to that, Rue. We do. Because we've been so busy, we used to do like an educational video every day.
Yeah.
I miss doing that. My engagement on social media was so much better.
Yeah.
I'll post a picture up now, I'll get a bunch of likes. But my engagement, people DMing like, dude, this.
It's not as fulfilling.
It's
right.
not.
Yeah.
And I know, and that's a big piece for me. But what are you doing right now? Like, what's next with all this change, this growth, this new social media? I know you're doing a lot of online code. Like, what's next? What are you working on?
Well, I'll tell you that I have my manifestations that I do either every morning or every night. One of them is honestly just to grow grow the fuck out of my online business. I have a business coach who has helped me tremendously just on like little things that you would never think of. That's a big thing too, like invest in yourself, because if I didn't work with her, I probably would still be in the same exact place I was. Now, like, I can take some of the information she gave me and also put my twist on it. That's how in like the past couple months I've like doubled my online clients, because I'm putting out stuff that's useful. I'm not trying to pretend to be this person with a perfect body. I'm showing you like how I'm relatable, because people don't want a coach that's has an awesome body and it's like very strict. They want to be able to relate to you. So I would say honestly, one of my manifestations is having a certain amount of clients by, I don't know why August, but August.
It's like your 1 year being up here.
Yeah, I'm just trying to honestly help people more. Like, something that's big for me is like waking up every day with intention. That's like also one of my manifestations. Like, I want to have a purpose every morning I wake up. I want to feel fulfilled, energized, love what I'm doing. And that's really where I'm trying to go, is just expand, learn. I'm always going to be growing. And hopefully, by August, I'll be like, I'm in a totally different spot than I was even when we did the podcast.
Yeah.
Whatever opportunities come my way, then I'll definitely, I'm now an ambassador for No One Needs to Leave. So,
yeah, that's something that, that was on the table for a long time, but the change that you've made was like, dude, we have to get in with Danielle. She's doing really good things. Mm-hmm. And that's like what No One Needs to Leave is all about. And seeing the change of actually trying to help people, that is what really attracted us. Like, we want her on our team, mm-hmm. doing this together, mm-hmm. Because that's the overall mission.
Yeah.
With your mindset and everything, is that like relating back to some of the dark times? Do you still have times throughout the day where, because I see with what you're posting on social media, and I know that you're a big fate person, so am I. I feel like that's why we have a good relationship. Like, I'm a deep emotional male, much like Rurik. We're all on the same page with that. Is there times that you kind of like, all right, this is where I'm supposed to be because of what happened? Like,
oh yeah, I tell you that all the time. I'm always like, I was supposed to meet you guys. Like, I was supposed to come out here. I was supposed to move. And like, even for example, I didn't like, what's the word I want to use? I wasn't like, I'm going to move out because I want to. My stepdad was like, deuces, like, you have to leave. Like, not for any specific reason. He was just like, I want you to be on your own and grow. He almost kind of thinks I was babied because my mom has that soft side for me, because number one, I'm the youngest and I'm the shit, but also because I went through that whole phase that I think everyone almost kind of, I don't want to say they fear me, but I went through that really dark time where it's like they're always going to be a little bit more careful. Yep. And he never witnessed that side of me, really. So he's just kind of like, go be a fucking adult. So when he was like, hey, you have to leave, I was like, what the fuck am I gonna do? Where am I gonna go? Blah, blah, blah. I took that giant jump, like, came out here, and it was like the best thing. And I'm always like, I've met so many people here. I've gained so much knowledge. So yeah, like I said, going back to my eating disorder is like my strength. It's like that part of me that I can relate to so many people. And it also just like makes me empathetic in a lot of ways too. When people come to me it's very, very flattering when people that don't know you like want to DM you just to talk to you and be like, hey, here's my shit. I don't know you, but I feel like I can tell you it. Like, I'm like, really? You want to talk to me about it? Like, I don't know. It's, people ask me like, do your clients bother you? Like, I forget, someone just asked me this recently because they were like, do you ever get annoyed when your clients text you 24/7? And I was like, no, I love it. Like, I feel like I actually reach out to my clients more because I'm like, I want you to tell me everything. Like, I want you to tell me when you're like, holy shit, I look good, or wow, I'm having an awful day, or wow, like, communication is so important in that relationship. So I love it. Like, I love having that whole experience. That way, I feel like it's geared me up to be like, I'm going to be a great coach for you. Yeah,
and that's your purpose. That's why you're here. That's why you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a double-edged sword, being that emotionally invested, because, and believing in spiritual and fate, because you're always going to look at things from the deep side of it. Mm-hmm. So you're like, wow, that actually really means a lot. Whereas times that can be a little heavy.
Yeah.
And maybe you overthink things.
Oh, yeah.
That's, Rurik and I are on the same, like, everything that happens, like, bird got stuck in the thing today. Is that God or someone sending us a sign that we should do fuck? You know what I'm saying? So like you start to overthink a lot of things. But even when your journey being here linked up with my work, and I always talk about how the fuck we met and now where we're gonna go in 10 years.
Yeah,
is deep shit.
Yeah,
and I know you're on the same page with that, and I think that's why you coming here, you know, you were meant to be up here, and what we were building at the time, the timing of it all kind of really worked together. Seeing what you've been through, what Rurik's been through, what I've been through, it's coming to a pinnacle that we can really help a lot of people.
Yeah.
And it's very admirable for you to share your story in such detail, because it does help a lot of people. And there's a lot of people that just don't talk about it.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of people that don't know who to talk to. And like I said, even when you post on your story, you're helping so many more people than you think.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think you know, when it all comes together and what you've been through, I think that there's going to be a lot of opportunity to continue to help people and continue to grow. It's awesome to watch. It's very motivating for me to see you and see your growth, because even though I'm not here as much, I see everything that's going on Instagram and shit, and I'll be like, Danielle's fucking reading again tonight. She's doing this. Like, she's ever really doing this. I'm always the first one here in the morning. You're always the second one now, right? You're training early. I'm like, I just saw you doing work for yourself late night last night. Now you're here training.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, seeing the growth, it's very motivating and satisfying for me as well. So, I mean, I enjoy watching your journey of growth, and I'm excited to see where it goes, and hopefully we do it together with no windy sleeves. But I'm gonna fire you with my wrap question.
Okay.
If you, I guess 2-part. No, we'll do 1 part. Any bit of advice for females predominantly in this space, going through any type of, I don't want to necessarily narrow it down to eating disorder, but you know, relationship with food, body dysmorphia, anything that's going on with their training. Like, what advice would you give them about, you know, the training or growing in their mindset? You know, what advice would you give to the females in this space?
There's 2 things I would say. One of them would be ask questions, like not even to other people, ask yourself so many questions. If something doesn't seem right, dig deeper, and that's something that I learned from my business coach. She's like, you're always going to find an answer. So if someone's like, oh, I feel like I can't eat this because I didn't work out today. Well, why? I don't know. I just always had that thought. Well, why? I don't know. I guess that's what I learned. Why? Who asked? Who told you that? You know what I mean? You have to get down to the root to really figure out the issue behind it. So if you're struggling with your mindset in the gym or your body or food, that's not supposed to happen. You're not supposed to have that sort of anxiety around things that are supposed to be a great part of life. You know what I mean? If you're going to the gym because you have to, why?
Yep.
Ask yourself questions, and you're always going to find out the answer. And once you figure out the answer to that question, hire a coach. Because like I said, get help, get professional help. You're never going to figure it out on your own.
Coaches need coaches.
Coaches need coaches. Everyone needs coaches. Invest in
I
yourself.
saw the whoa in the TV reflection, Jess. That was nice.
That was a good
really
one.
big head bob there. All right, well, thank you so much for coming on. That was fucking awesome. I can't wait for this one to be released. I love you.
Love
Good
you.
shit. Hit him with a fucking whoa.
Bye.